Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. 12 o'clock location, we have Redalert as the orange terran. 3 o'clock location, the label of gurlpower, we have Winhouse as the green zerg, having a little bit of trouble with those drones on the corner. I hate that, so frustrating. But this is Metalopolis, probably going to be a longer macro style match, and just so you know, yeah, the games were out of order, but don't think about it too hard. Otherwise, you might give yourself a spoiler. Nevertheless, looks like an Overlord at close positions is going to have an opportunity to scout inside Redalert's base, get some information early. Perhaps he can do that nice little wind drafting thing, and I always love it when Zerg can pull that off. Particularly, it's a little more difficult versus Terran. It's really fun. Well, I guess it's not any more difficult versus any race. Ignore me. Ignore me! Looks like a supply depot right off the bat for Redalert, so we're not going to see some cheese. Really quickly, I wanted to give a big shout out to videogamevoters.org. If you are in the United States, go there, register for basically Video Gamers Block, and that was huge by Redalert actually, just pulling this little SCV down here, and I know that doesn't seem like much, but at these close positions like that, particularly on Metalopolis, where it's more of a macro-oriented map, where you tend to see more Zerg going for fast expansion, we might see that from Winhouse. We'll have to see, and I should bring up the income tab just to check. Looks like 300 harvesters, and there we can kind of see the resource count. But essentially what that's going to allow is that SCV to get in there, maybe deny that natural expansion, or at the very least scout, not have to wander around kind of into oblivion where he's not finding any scouting information. But before I get too distracted, videogamevoters.org, huge, particularly for net neutrality, and I think that's the biggest issue, well, not just for gamers, but at large. I think that's really going to be the issue that defines the next 50 years, whether it's successful or not, and I think, yeah, we need to fight for it hard. Really need to fight for it hard. So looks like gurlpower coming out to try to put down that expansion, doesn't quite have the resources yet, but trying to attack that SCV and bring it off the line, get out of the way. Let's see how long it manages to, actually taking a little bit of damage, but not, wow, nice plant. Right on 300 resources too, so not too much time lost, a little bit of time lost on one drone that was mining off the line. Looks like we do have that expansion. That Overlord is going to take some damage from that Marine. Hopefully it can get back out to the corner. Perhaps a little bit too distracted in the natural expansion. Also wanted to give a shout out to Cy Starcraft. Check out his channel if you haven't already. He's a fantastic StarCraft commentator as well as live streamer. And special thanks to him for helping me with a couple resolution issues. I've always liked him. I wish I could... Cy, if you're listening to this, dual commentary sometime. I'm not even kidding. If you want to. Just if you want to. I know that maybe you don't, but whatever. Anyway, 27 health. Another Marine coming up. This is going to be... Oh! Overlord dies in fantastic fashion, and that is going to hurt. Puts... Winhouse in the red, also an SCV just kind of chilling there, and that is not what you want early game. That can really compound later, and it looks like we are going to see a Hellion harass from Redalert to follow this up. Otherwise, Polygon Review did an interview with them, if you want to check it out, with him. Mr. Schoenberg is fantastic. He'll have it up on Twitter or one of his main page. I did get the logo. Special thanks to Bivort and Ben for that. I know there are a ton of shout out, and people are like, oh, go to 422, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, really? 4 minutes? You can't listen to me talk for 4 minutes? So it's so much to ask. Even talking as though it were your job to watch commentaries, 4 frickin' minutes. That's not even... You can't really find a company where they would pay you for that amount of time. They'd be like, really? Really? Anyway, whatever. Not that it's company or time. I don't even know where I'm going with that. But anyway, this logo I'm going to line up Yoha Rocks, and I believe that is the shout-out that was requested. Yoha Rocks. Maybe I mispronounced that. Hopefully not. Anyway, it looks like, yes, Hellions are going to start pumping en masse, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult because of that Overlord hit early to really get the roaches out and things like that to defend it. And I almost feel like I know people don't like building spine crawlers because they're like, oh, static defense. But, and in that exact tone, too. Been really sarcastic today. I'm not sure why. Looks like a couple Zerglings running forward. I like this play, actually. Running forward with just a couple Zerglings to buy time. Not assuming... Well, first of all, to scout the Hellions, but... basically, I almost feel like gurlpower felt this coming, was like, okay, I think I'm going up against Hellion harass. But essentially what those 4 Zerglings did is they ran up, they distracted those Hellions long enough to get these roaches out and in position to provide additional defense. And I really like that play. I do believe that was what was kind of in mind for Winhouse. And also, as soon as they get a little bit more creep spread, it'll work out. And the frame rate is really crashing here. Again, it's patch 1.1, so hopefully that will fix itself out momentarily. But anyway, it looks like the Roach is kind of wandering up and just, yeah, keeping an eye out on things. Looks like hatchery starting to spawn additional whatnot, and another Overlord coming across. I like that. Persistent scouting. Just going to check things out. The Marine might lose another Overlord, but I almost feel like it's worth the sacrifice just to see what's going on in the base. It looks like we're going to see a command center being built as well as a starport. So it looks like 1-1-1 build, or a 1-1-1, the 3 1s, whatnot, and that is going to get scouted. Very effective, very nice build. And basically what these Hellions do is they just pin these. They need to watch that creep line. They pin these Roaches back. They pin the Zerg opponent back, essentially. And let's see if actually there's a speed upgrade upgrading for... nope, no speed. And Medevac's also coming out. So, ooh, okay, 2 Hellions deciding to be suicidal there for whatever reason. They're like, fall in line, who cares? Let's just go. The drop will definitely help these Hellions be more effective if they can get into the main. Those Roaches will no longer be basically sufficient to cover all of that territory. Another Overlord getting killed, and I missed it right there, but putting back in the red. But I think, again, that was... It was a sacrifice that was expected, but a very low gas game here. Very low gas from Winhouse, just playing very low. There's the reconstruction now upgraded. Natural expansion being taken by Redalert to try to catch up a little bit economically, although I think the income tab, you'll see it's not significantly behind, specifically in gas. Staying right about even. Redhouse is going for a lot of kind of aggregate tech here with only 1 gas, which leads me to believe we're going to be seeing more a Marine heavy, and I'm missing it. I wish there wasn't lag right there, but it looks like the Hellions managed to run right up into the main, and I don't think that was just from Medevac. Yeah, it looks like they were just able to run straight up. No! Run, drones! Oh, man. The drone's getting annihilated, and things are not looking good here. It looks like the rest of them getting cleaned up, but they have done a significant amount of damage. You can see that the harvester count just plummeting, and the gas production has been absolutely halted, and now the Medevac is coming up and is going to be able to evacuate that one last Hellion, who's going to be able to come home, tell the tale, and raise morale. And he's going to be like, "Where are your 3 friends?" It's like, who cares? Let me tell you about how I single-handedly killed all of these drones once I got into the Zerg main. But wow, that was I like this kind of counter here, though. Roaches pushing forward to be aggressive here, and it looks like they're just going to engage in open ground with that speed. But additionally, you'll see that Winhouse just dumped a ton of drones to try to recover, rather than trying to and just saying, okay, well, that harassment was over. I think that Redalert is not going to follow that up with another counterattack. I am going to press forward with a couple Roaches, and instead what I'm going to do is just put on a little pressure of my own, show that I have a couple units out in the field, and wow, a ton of harvesters, already at 40. Looks like a Viking is being produced alongside as well, because really no anti-air whatsoever. And with all of that harassment done, because the only real anti-air you have is that Queen at tier 2 tech, I like the decision of going that Viking, not just for scouting, but, and here it comes, not just for scouting, because you can get a lot of Overlord kills with it, just right off the bat, because it's, again, only a single Queen, and he knows that there's going to be delay towards that tier 2 tech anti-air. So it looks like Overlord's just going to sit and die, once again stalling the economy of Winhouse. But the thing is Winhouse now at 44 harvesters and still outside of gas has a significant in there. Go Queen, go! Able to run up there and do a little bit of damage. Looks like this natural secondary is pretty well defended by Redalert. You can again recycle all of that and just pumping troops, getting an armory up. Maybe thinking about going switching back and going Thor, perhaps. We'll see down the line. But that Viking still continuing to be frustrating. You can see the Queen, and that's the other thing that forces the Queens off the line. They're not using spawn larva. They're not doing a couple things like that. But I almost feel like this is one of those situations where Redalert is feeling comfortable. He's like, oh yeah, I'm in a great position, when actually he's economically behind and is not going to be able to get to his third base, but is not going to be able to take the third before Winhouse is. So Winhouse actually taking the third with a nice timing drone lift up, and right now this is where Winhouse really needs to be attacking and putting on pressure and going and pushing forward. Unfortunately, if he does not do so now, he's going to end up losing the opportunity to do so. So I really like how Winhouse is more or less playing a little bit psychologically against them. There's also some missile turrets being produced. Looks like that Vikings